Thank you very much, Ron. This was like a really inspiring talk, and I'll take you out for a beer because there's a whole other presentation that I now could hold to address a lot of your points.
I'm going to take you up.
All right. All right. I'm careful. I'm German. I can't drink beer. So I won't go too much into public art today. I'm presenting mainly another project that I've been working on over the past few months, but however it ties into some of my art practice. So, and I think I might have screwed this up early on. Okay. There you go. So my background is actually long time ago in industrial design, product design. So I'm very interested in space, but keep in mind that I'm coming from a small scale and I'm going up. That's important for what's coming next. I moved to Somerville in 2010 to do my master's in art design and a public domain, which is a relatively new degree at the Harvard Graduate School of Design with Jutta Friedrichs, who's a real serious public artist and an activist, a very political activist. And so this was a project that I did during my time there, which was a 6-channel projection. And it was an attempt to understand space in its various layers and how different information and aspects of the space could be overlaid into the same physical and temporal space. So this is, I filmed trees around that's the Graduate School of Design, the building. Some of you might be familiar with a huge concrete bare wall, like very brutalist kind of wall. And I wanted to understand the original context of the building. And so I looked at the maps of the 70s when the building was designed and constructed, and identified a bunch of trees around it that were already there during the time of planning, and the time of construction. So I identified them as the original context and then filmed them and projected them onto different layers of architecture that people sort of walked through and could interact with, as well as in the shadows actually when people passed by, some of the quotes of the reactions of after the building which has been very controversial, had been opened, were sort of appeared in their shadows. So here we are looking at space and various temporal and spatial level layers and how that could be collapsed in order to tell some kind of richness of that space that is usually completely ignored. And this is a project that I did. I told you I'm coming from an object-based background. And this is a project I did just 1 month ago, and it was premiered as a dance performance. It was premiered in Valencia, Spain, and we moved to London in the fall. So I worked with a dance collective and designed furniture, which I often do, for dance performance. And thinking of the object, of the potential of the object to tell a narrative. And be really animated by movement, by the space, by the dancers. So putting these kind of two things together, this is the venture that I'm in right now. With 2 of my co-founders, we incorporated changing environments in April. And this is our first product, so to say. It's a smart urban furniture. So it's a solar-powered bench that charges people's cell phones, but also has some intelligent probing technology inside, and so it can collect sun hours and it measures sun hours and it measures the user patterns. And now also we are looking into building in additional sensors for probing air quality and noise levels, and for there to be continued. So that was really a way. So we're addressing green energy, mobile technology in public space and the social space. So we very quickly, we launched this at the White House a month and a half ago, and got some fans there. That's my co-founder, Sandra, in there. And then we installed it about 3 weeks ago, the first one with Mayor Walsh in Titusbury Park near the Symphony Hall. And this is actually right next to a basketball court. And we were like really heart-struck by, there were like this big basketball dudes, tall, muscular, and sweatshirts and coming up. It's like, hey, dude, I really appreciate this. So that was like really great to design something, you know, that and give it to a crowd that we perhaps were a little concerned with in terms of vandalism, because people always say when I first designed something for public space, oh, be careful of the skateboarders, and everybody just wants to beat up these stuff.
Where was this?
That's Titusbury Park. It's close to the Symphony Hall. Yeah. There's another one in the background. You can't quite see it, next to a playground. And this was a couple of days later. We installed the first unit in Boston Common. There are 2 right now. And just 3 minutes after we left the bench, there was a person sitting down and charging up. And so we were really pleased about that, because we were really concerned with whether people would understand what to do with this strange thing. So, and the whole thing here is the data that we are collecting there on the sun hours and the usage patterns. We really believe that people are interested in how parts of the cities, objects of the cities are performing and how they're interacting with it. There seems to be a real fascination, and the cities also they always ask us, so, you know, do you have some new statistics? How many people have charged today? So we can see the average of each of the benches. We can see the average of visitors per day and the charging hours, and we can see some patterns, and we'll say, oh, I wonder that person that's always coming at 7 o'clock in the morning. But we're not sucking up any personal data. We're not spying on people. That's sometimes a concern, but the technology can't do it. We're not trying to do it. So this is sort of what it looks like, a charging activity and collected sun hours, what we are seeing. So in Boston Common, right now we have an average of 17 people charging for 12 hours a day. And then what we also try to do, I'm a big fan of sort of looking at, participatory art practice has been a buzzword for some times, and I think there's some really cool parts to it. I'm a little biased, but on this point, we really wanted to engage the public and see really how much do they like this, how much do they want it, and see if we sort of can use this as a persuasive tool for the city to really get engaged with this and back this up further for the units. And so the mayor of Boston put out a press release, and they asked participants to submit the locations. And this is what we got back after 3 weeks, which was nearly 300 suggestions for locations from Boston citizens, which was pretty amazing. And we on our website kind of did the same, and so we asked people to submit name suggestions. And this is some of the selection. We got about 200 suggestions again in 3 weeks. So we're actually going to make a selection on both of these parameters in the next 2 weeks, and then there will be 2 more units with 2 more of these names. So and the people also have to give an explanation why they were suggesting these names. So everybody really gets engaged. And then press went viral, and we got requests from all over the world. This is really bizarre. And so we are really interested in building an infrastructure with these benches, these sort of charging pods, almost to replace this telephone booth, what we think. And there's actually there's another company that moved into the space right when we deployed the first prototype in a Boston Greenway last year, which still look very different. They're called Street Charge, and they have these charging poles. And when you look at the website and the explanation, they always say that this is sort of the social pod, like because people face each other, but it's really weird because you plug in your phone and it almost looks like a light post. It really looks like a piece of infrastructure, right? And people then stand there and they can't put their coffee anywhere and they can't go anywhere and they stand there and like they're waiting and it's sort of awkward because you're that far away and you're sort of really unrelaxed. So actually in Kendall Square they deployed one then. The other day I walked past there and I had to laugh because they put 2 chairs next to invite people to sit and it's like, duh, you know, it's like, it's a bench. So what we are really trying to do very differently with us is like, how can you create a piece of infrastructure on a city level that is something that is an object that people like and like to interact with. And we've been in the design as well as in all of our communication, in our strategy, and how we're deploying it and how we're involving the public, always been really sort of concerned with how can we create something people like, embrace, and really want in their city. Of course they don't have to pay for it. And so right now, that's just what we did. Every bench, as you saw before, gets their name, and now we're putting up a website, a Facebook profile for every bench to see if people actually want to communicate with this bench, actually have some kind of thoughts about, interact with it, to sort of really explore this. If the object in the city can create a kind of a space for interaction, for thoughts. And so that's my team, and that's how we communicate. We try to communicate everything with love. And that's us. Thank you.